please stand and join in our pledge of allegiance and the invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me? Eternal God, as we begin another meeting of the Board of Alderman of the City of Carl Junction, we ask that you invest in this body your strength and wisdom to fortify us and guide us so that we may enhance the prosperity of our community and improve the quality of life for those we serve. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Next is approval of the agenda. Are there any comments or corrections to the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as typed.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Holly Levine to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And in the affirmative, the agenda is approved. Next is the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting and approval of our disbursements. Are there any comments or corrections on the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Holly Levine to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Okay, in the affirmative, the consent agenda is approved. Next is public forum. Remember, we should speak in public forum. Oh my goodness, I gotta read this one, bad throat.
Pass it back.
Make Steve.
We can read it for you.
We'll read it.
Oh, we'll read it.
Okay, Holly, give that to Holly. She'll read it.
I'll wait.
We'll read it. All persons wishing to speak to the mayor and board of aldermen during the public comment portion of the meeting should come forward one at a time and stand at the podium. State your name and address and the subject matter you wish to comment on. All comments should be directed to the mayor in a civil manner. Comments are limited to 5 minutes unless the mayor or board of aldermen grants additional time. It is the mayor's responsibility to make certain these rules are followed and to maintain order and decorum. If you have a question, the mayor and board of aldermen may of course provide an immediate response. However, the mayor and board of aldermen may also provide no response or response at a later time as they deem appropriate.
Carol Walker, 207 Burford. I just have a question on the solar panels. After the discussion on Liberty the last meeting, do the solar panels have any effect on our electric bill for the town?
Nope, they sure don't. They, how do I put this nicely? Pretty much they're junk. They don't produce enough to offset anything.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak in public forum?
Is that what we do, David?
If you'd like to.
We had 9 people in our yoga class. Thank you so much for letting us do that. It's fabulous. I also love your library to bring my little grandson to. But if you guys, like, after you leave, could go check out the carpet that hasn't been cleaned forever and, like, underneath, like, the things. It's like, we go home and take showers after. And I don't know if, like, you want the yoga class to, like, donate some money or something, whatever. Or, I mean, we'll do it to, like, clean it. But it's, like, really filthy. So I appreciate if you guys would look. And I know for the little kids, it's kind of nasty. So anyway, they nominated us to come over. So I appreciate it. And I do so appreciate that class and the little library. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anything else on public forum? Very well then, moving right along, now we got a public hearing on the 2003 tax levy. I'll open the public forum for that. Public hearing, we'll make that forum. I guess anyone wishing to speak about, I guess, in favor of the tax levy? Steve, want to talk about the tax levy?
Do it under ordinances.
You don't want to talk about it in a public hearing?
I can.
Well, I mean, does anybody want to talk about the tax levy? Guess you could probably mention what it is, the changes.
Yeah, there's no change in it. We're going to be at 4662 on the general fund and 3601 on the GO bond. our debt service, so there's no change in the levy. It is? Okay, sorry.
And I don't know if this is speaking out in favor or not in favor of the tax levy, but the levy that they put, I have to correct myself on what I said at the last meeting, because I was looking at a 1.9% property increase. And I forgot until working on some other stuff this week and today that I had not taken new construction off. So our increase in property value is only 0.26 of 1%. So about 1/4%, which the state auditor is showing that will get us an additional $1,371 if we go with the levy that the auditors say that we're supposed to go. So just so you know, that levy will generate approximately $1,371 additional dollars for next year with a consumer price index of 6.5%.
Yep.
So
So what are you gonna do?
I guess we
We're
need to
not
close the public
We're
hearing.
not the
and
only,
ordinance.
we're not the only one that's facing this type of thing. I know that the fire district also was in the same boat. Part of it is what the state auditor recommends through their pro forma. Although that 6.5% is included in the pro forma, it's nowhere in their calculations. They don't take it into account at all. It's just a blank that they fill in on that pro forma. What does come into effect is the 2619 increase in valuation. Other entities that go through this same process and is for political subdivisions other than school districts. So municipalities, counties, CID, that type of thing. Your fire district, an ambulance district, library district, anybody that has that. One major entity in the county is actually not levying what the auditor says to do in the pro forma. They're actually taking a 0.5 cent more than what the auditor is stating to do. For us, that 0.5 cent would mean an additional $50-some thousand a year in revenue. We are still way below our voter mandated level, which is at 0.95, just for the general fund. So we're still well below that. We're half of
We're
it.
less than half of what the voters have said.
Yeah. So taking another 0.5 cent isn't going to put us close to what that levy would be, according to what the voters said we can do. And every public entity has that, where you have to have a voter-approved levy for your general fund. So it's a little bit, I don't want to say unusual, but I think that one has probably been doing it for years that way. Who knows? We've had extensive conversations. The mayor and I, Mary Beth, Elena, we've had lots of conversations about the levy and what they hold us to and what they don't do as far as what the statute says. Because the statute says that you're supposed to be able to take into account the CPI. We can change that. You could, for an option, you could not do this levy, and we could republish it, and then would have to have a special meeting to go back and recalculate a new levy. We can do that. We've got limited amount of time because we'd have to get it advertised again, and we have to have it done by September 1st. So you basically have a week, 2 weeks at the latest, to be able to do that.
And worst case scenario, we set the levy, then the auditor kicks it back and we fight with the auditors, or it goes to what it is now.
Right. And in the past, we have increased it and then came back later and decreased it. Not on our account though, that was in miscalculations from the county that we had to do that with.
But what they're doing does not follow Hancock that I can, and I talked to somebody today and they said, well, it's kind of a cloudy area, you get into the weeds. Well, if you've got a 6.5 CPI and they're only letting you take a 0.26, like
Quarter of a point.
And you have a 6.5. We're not trying to do something the voters haven't already approved. They're trying to tell us your voters approved it, but don't go with what your voters say.
And the basic structure of the Hancock is that you can't take a windfall. Well, $50,000 in revenue is not a windfall, not on a $6.5 million budget.
And $1,371 is a loss.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
that's
technically
a
a
loss.
loss.
1371 is a loss.
We can't, yeah. That's when you have to start cutting some kind of services or something.
We'll see who wants to be against this levy. Oh, we already did. So, do you guys have any opinion on this?
We've still got to get into discussion during the ordinance phase.
Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing on the tax levy. We'll move on to ordinances. The first is an ordinance establishing the tax levy for fiscal year 2024.
I move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, for Roger Spencer, put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance establishing the tax levy for the fiscal year 2024, establishing said levy 0.8263 per hundred assessed valuation, establishing the allocation of said funds to general fund and general obligations sinking fund.
Discussion.
I think we need to, personally, I think we need to not approve this ordinance and go into special session in the next week or so.
So you'd like to table it then?
Well, if we table it, this has got the levy on it, right? So don't we need
Yes.
So you
to,
can
You can
modify
vote it down.
just table it and amend it or vote it down? What would
Let me have your opinion.
Would you like me to comment?
Yes, I would.
You notice in all those discussions that Steve and Mary Beth and Elena and the mayor have had about this issue, I was not mentioned, and I can't tell you what the repercussions could or might be if you vote this down and let's insert another one. I just haven't studied the issue. I'm not briefed on it. I'm sorry. I didn't know that was going to be the topic that was going to be discussed tonight. I certainly can. I don't know the risk involved. That's what I can advise you about.
Can we table this until next meeting?
No, it'd be too late. We'd have to have a special meeting next week or the week after.
Yeah, this is the second meeting.
Regardless, if we table this, we can come right back to it with a special meeting. So if no action's taken today, then we can't be.
Then you can amend it, right?
You could just do the first reading only and then go to a special meeting as a second reading and amend it.
Right, but if you want to do a different levy aren't there some formalities that have to be gone through?
Yes, it has to get in the paper. We have to get it advertised.
And, I mean, I don't know whether that can be done by an amendment to this ordinance or whether you need
I think it would be cleaner to have a new ordinance with whatever the recalculated levy is. It would be a lot cleaner. Vote this one down and come back with a new one.
I have, you've heard what I have to say. I'll be
Any other
happy-
comments?
What is the time frame again that we have to have it done?
September 1st.
September 1st.
It's like 2 weeks. So how long? We got to advertise 24 hours prior? For a new-
7 days.
7
7
days.
days. So vote, what you're suggesting is vote it down, advertise tomorrow, have another meeting next week.
Yes. We'll have to call tomorrow and get it advertised in the Globe and
And it
No, it'll
gives
have
our
to be
city
tomorrow.
attorney something to research.
And I would like to have the information that you're operating on so I can properly evaluate it. And at this point, I can't. But I'm sure you have information. I need that information so that I can review it, advise the council.
Yeah, Mike.
What's the rate that, instead of the one that is in this ordinance, what's the one that you're wanting to go with?
general
Or half
fund.
cent, I mean, I'm sorry, you're saying
4662, reevaluate it.
to what amount?
Possibly a half a cent, so it would be 0.5162. Just, I want to run the numbers first before we do that. I don't want to get outlandish with it.
Half a cent wouldn't be 5.1, that would be 5 cents.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
146.
47. Four seven.
Or 712.
4712.
Right now, our levy is less than the fire district.
I want to figure out how much revenue that's the biggest thing is, I want to be able to figure out how much revenue for sure additional that would bring us.
Yeah, well,
I guess the thing is, if we want to publish, if we want to take time to publish and the attorney look at it, and we are going to be going against the pro forma, but we already know somebody who has, and I'm trying to get the backup on the justification for that. But if this doesn't go through and we get knocked back down, we'll still only be getting $1,371 if they collect all of it. But I guess it's just up to everybody if they want to take that chance and try to go ahead and raise it, or if you want to approve this tonight and then budget time, we knock money out of the general fund, which is your PD and your
streets.
city hall.
The only concern I have is procedurally how to handle it. I have some concern about having the ordinance proposed, publishing it, having the hearing, and then as a body voting down the ordinance. And maybe the 6 1/2 dozen the other, but I think I'd feel more comfortable with some way to table it and come back to it rather than basically saying, no, we're declining that levy.
If we table it and then take a week and then come back and do it again, then we miss the deadline if we change the numbers. That's not correct.
Without having a special session, so we'd have to come back in next week on.
And we'll have to
we'll have
publish the
Or the weekend.
proposed levy, right?
Yeah, we'd have to get the proposed levy in.
'Cause it's-
The earliest we could get it in would be the Thursday paper. It's gotta be there for 7 days, so we would have to have a special meeting then on the 8th day.
I mean, for reference, last year we did it August 30th.
I remember.
As long as we do it by the 31st, have a meeting by the 31st, then we can still make the deadline of September 1st.
Well, I think tabling it then, I'm on the same page as Mr. Dr. Kyle there, table it. And we've already done the first reading, right? And we can edit it for the second reading if we need to at the special meeting.
Did you have your first reading?
Yes.
We're in discussion on the first reading.
I recall it now, I'm sorry.
Procedurally, that's okay to do it that way?
To,
Table it, come back with the second reading with.
yeah, I don't see a problem.
And amend it if we need to.
Amend it, that's, I don't know the legalities of doing that, of amending it. We'll have, I mean, other ordinances, yes. What I don't know is how it works with the publication and so forth that we've done to amend the ordinance into what you're gonna publish.
That's why I said I think it would be better to vote this ordinance down, re-advertise with the new ordinance and the new levy, and come back in a week for approval.
That is cleaner.
Yeah,
The alternative, I think, is you could table this ordinance and still create a separate ordinance that, yeah, have two ordinances and then come back and vote this one down.
Yeah,
And,
second reading.
that's a good idea.
Second reading, vote it down.
Or voted yes, if we don't
Yeah,
want
I mean,
it.
yeah, that way.
Depending
I
on
still
what
think
the
that we
numbers
can
maybe
have
decide they wanna approve
the
it.
option. Because we haven't really came to a consensus if this is something we want.
So I move that we table this ordinance until a special meeting.
I will second that.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Mike Burns, we table this ordinance until our special meeting, whenever that'll be before September the 1st. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative. The ordinance is tabled until our next meeting. Next is the ordinance providing for financial disclosure and conflicts of interest.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
I'll second it.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Mike Burns, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance providing for a financial disclosure and conflicts of interest.
Discussion. This is what we do every year.
This is a yearly ordinance we pass for the ethics commission.
Any further discussion?
So just to make sure that I'm clear on the language of the ordinance, should I interpret it to read that it's to be in compliance with the state statute?
I move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spence, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance providing for a financial disclosure and conflicts of interest.
Further discussion?
Move we put this ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Holly Levine, to put this ordinance on final passage. This is a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Affirmative, please vote electronically. 8 yeses, none opposed. This ordinance number
2331.
2331. Thank you. Next is ordinance approving a settlement agreement for a sewer claim.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Holly Levine, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving a settlement agreement with Debbie and Dean Nicholson to resolve claims against the city of Carl Junction, Missouri related to the sanitary sewer system by payment of $5,000 in mediation costs, payments of the sum of $20,000 to the Nicholsons, and the completion of sanitary sewer repairs at a cost of $47,500 in exchange for a release of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Discussion, Steve.
Friday, I went to Kansas City for the mediation talks on this one. After 4 hours, there was no agreement, and it thought that we were too far apart to come to something, so we left a offer on the table. And before I made it back to Pittsburgh, it was under serious consideration for what's in front of you with the ordinance. That has been agreed to inform as of right now. Of course, we don't have anything with signatures on it yet, but that is what they have agreed to, what MIRMA, the cities, and the MIRMA attorneys and myself agreed to during that.
And our cost is gonna be,
Would be 71,
no, our cost.
would be 72,500. It would be half of that. Our cost will be half of the install, half of the mediation costs, and half of the monetary.
Is the rest covered by
MIRMA will pay the other half. This is by far cheaper than going to court, going to litigation with a jury. It was estimated that just legal fees for that would be just over or somewhere near 100,000, just for the legal fees on it.
Not for me.
Not for Mr. Talley. And everybody felt, the mediator, the attorney and MIRMA felt that it would come down to two experts arguing a very similar point. And that would not be good for them, and it wouldn't be good for us either.
Let me add this comment. Customarily, we don't bring settlement agreements to you without the signatures of the other party to it. But I understood this was somewhat urgent by MIRMA to get this done tonight.
Yes.
It would have been preferable if we'd had signatures, because they can always change their mind until they sign on. So just that forewarning. It's not a reason not to do it. It's just that we can't control whether it actually gets done.
But,
Can we pay for this out of sewer funds?
Yes, that's where it would come
It
from.
will come, because even the damages.
Yep.
any further discussion?
This does not cover damages. Damages is a very different style of settlement and claim.
What's the 20,000 to
That's
that?
just a monetary,
It's just a, okay,
Yeah.
monetary award.
yes.
Mike,
The incident that, I guess is the question, when did that happen?
2019.
So up to that point, the sewer system is just the same. There has been no repairs, so it's no different than
Correct.
what it say it was in when it wrapped up.
And there is no changes to the city's sewer system. These are changes on the citizen side, on the homeowner side.
any further discussion?
Move to put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second Roger Spencer for this one. Let's say reading by title only. Will clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving a settlement agreement with Debbie and Dean Nicholson to resolve claims against the city of Carl Junction, Missouri related to the sanitary sewer system by payment of $5,000 in mediation costs, payment of the sum of $20,000 to the Nicholsons, and the completion of sanitary sewer repairs at a cost of $47,500 in exchange for a release of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any
Yeah,
further
yeah.
discussion?
Yeah.
Mr. Talley?
Steve said something this is a full, complete release that they're giving.
Yes,
So it would include damages that they sustained.
No, there is nothing in there specifying damages.
They're to give the city a complete release
Yes,
from all liability
yes.
for the, and I would think that would include the damages. $20,000 should be,
All I
For
can
the
say is
damages.
there's nothing in that release that says damages.
well, it's a complete release to the city from
Yes.
all liability.
Yes,
And to me, that means damages as well. And that's what the $20,000 should have been for, and I'm sure it was. I'm sure, unless there's been specific conversation to the contrary, of which I'm not aware of, but maybe you are. Has there been specific discussion about they're coming back with a claim for damages in addition to this?
yes, there was. By the mediator and by the MIRMA attorney, they were specific that monetary was not for damages because of the type of claim it was as a temporary inverse taking. I think I'm using the right language there. That it was not a claim for damages.
Have we monetized the damages?
No.
Mike,
I guess I was gonna ask, releasing the city, is this any future, release of liability for the city as well? I mean, if we're not changing anything, they're changing something on their end, but the city's not actually.
Yeah, I'd have to read that release and see if it said, because that release has something in it.
I'm just saying, if it backed up in 2019 and we're not changing a thing on our end, what's to say it's not gonna happen again or happen to the next house to the north or south if we're not changing anything?
Well, there is work contemplated. It's part of the agreement
Yes,
to make the changes required.
You said there's nothing that we're changing over to our system, right?
no, it's his.
Okay.
They had a 3-foot fall, and the other guy had a 20-foot fall.
basically it was
Yeah.
6
A
inches.
3-inch fall from their sewer to ours, and now it's gonna go through a pump and go up to the top. It's gonna be 20 foot high. So if it does do it again, the whole city's gonna be underwater.
Other than the dollar amounts and the fact that we're paying mediation costs, it's the exact same one that we approved a month ago for the neighbor.
Any further discussion?
Maybe we put this ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Donna second by David Bell, put this ordinance on final passage. This is a handbook to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, say, signify by raising your right hand. Any affirmative, please vote electronically. 8 yeses, none opposed. This is ordinance number, thank you. Next, long-term projects report. Any comments for the city administrator?
You'll see some changes in it at the next report. The mayor asked me to remove a bunch of the old stuff, and absolutely, just to get that out of the way and try to make it cleaned up.
Anything for Steve?
I've got a question on the sidewalks on Pinell. Who's responsible for the,
Mowing.
yes,
Right now, the contractor is, and he's supposed to be in this week to get it all cleaned out. As a final, before we do our final inspection, he's got to get it all cleaned up. And he missed getting one speed limit sign back in place also. After that, it's MoDOT's responsibility.
so it won't be the homeowners that are.
No. Most of the homeowners do it along there anyway. I asked him where he got his topsoil from and what kind of weeds those were he
So
had.
full of trees and terrible.
They grew quick.
Anything else from the city administrator? Well, very well, then we'll move on to the treasurer's report. Any comments about the treasurer's report? No comments, and we'll move on to department reports. Let's start with public works. Any comments for Jay?
What is daily maintenance of the splash pad? Or is,
It has to be backflushed every day. Takes about 30 minutes to an hour. Swamp and the grass clippings are getting in the head. We have to take them apart, get the grass clippings out.
Anything else for Jay? Very well, then we'll move on to PD. Any questions or comments for the chief? Want to say anything, Mark? Very well then, we got a building inspector's report in here too. Any comments about the building? What?
New car.
Oh, yeah, the new car has arrived. Just need to have Elena cut a check for it, and then we'll go pick it up. We have all the equipment for it except for the radio. So, haven't got word when that'll be in yet. Last I knew, it was supposed to be sometime July or September, but I haven't got any update on it yet. As soon as it gets in, we'll put it in service. And up till then, we'll get the striping put on it. Probably wait to install all the equipment until the radio comes in, because otherwise they just have to tear it apart while they rewire everything anyway.
All right. Anything else? Now we'll go to building inspector's report. Any comments about that?
Been busy.
Yep. Okay, then we move on to committee reports. Budget and finance.
The only thing we have a meeting set for September 5th, correct?
Yes.
At 6 PM, is that when we set it? Okay. So we can go over the first quarter of the fiscal year, and by then we should know what levy we're looking at. That's all I have.
Anything for budget? Code and nuisance, Rick.
Nothing at this time, sir.
Anything else for Rick? Human resources, Roger.
Nothing, sir.
Anything for Roger? Public facilities and planning, Mike.
we had a public facilities planning meeting at 6 o'clock this evening. The first thing we talked about was shade structures for the splash pad. And I think the Public Facilities Committee would like to recommend that we purchase single cantilever 16 by 20, 2 of those from Duffer Hall Designs. I have a copy of the quote here. So I guess we'd like the rest of the board's approval to follow our recommendation and purchase 2 shade structures from Duffer Hall Designs for a total cost of probably going to be $13,750 for the 2 for the parent.
We just need a motion for that.
Make a motion that we approve the purchase of the shade structure for the splash pad.
A second.
Motion by David Pyle, second by Von Allen, to approve the shade structure quote presented by the Budget of Public Facilities and Planning Committee. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative. Go for it.
All right, we also talked about playground equipment at Center Creek Park. That's one of the projects that we're working on. No final decisions were made. We're gathering some information and looking at some different designs. We also talked about cleaning services for this building and the PD. And we think we'd like to recommend that we see if we can get a part-time employee hired by the city. I think it'd be more cost-effective than the cleaning company that we currently have a contract with. So we'd like Steve to go out and put in, try and get some some applicants for that position and see if we can find somebody to take on those roles.
Good.
I think that's all.
Anything else for public facilities? I'm going to establish a new committee for economic development. Holly Lean's going to be the chairman of that committee. Committee members are going to be Bill McGuire, Rick Flynn, myself, Steve Lauber, and Crystal Wakefield. And Holly's also going to get 2 or 3 other people outside of the city here. I don't know if you talked to them yet or not.
I am reaching out currently.
Okay. And then she will get 2 or 3 other people outside the community to be on this too, to try and get our economic development going on. So put that on my sheet so we can give a report on that every meeting then. Thank you. Next is unfinished business. David?
No, sir.
Bill? Mike?
I have nothing, sir.
Donna?
I think Steve's covered.
Okay, I went and talked to, the county commissioners today at their meeting about the stop sign at Fur Road and Briarbrook. And they are going to investigate it, but they're generally opposed to a stop sign there. They're extremely worried that someone's gonna pull out there and people are gonna ignore the stop sign and someone's gonna be killed there at the intersection. We're going to try and investigate what we can do to maybe get a roundabout in there. I think we've got whatever it is,
We've got a study on it.
a study that, but I mean, we've got a deal in September about a funding deal.
Yes, I have training in September on the bipartisan infrastructure bill, transportation funding portion of that bill, to see if there's anything available in it.
Stop signs are not dead, but they're going to investigate it and get back to us on that. They're gonna talk to Kurt again, and they're gonna talk to their engineer and talk to the safety council. And that's all I have to finish. Roger?
Nothing.
Greg?
No, sir.
Bob?
Nothing.
Holly?
I just wanted to say, in addition to the part-time employee and new vacuum, let's get a carpet shampooer. See if they're, that's all.
Mr. Talbot? Elena? Crystal? Steve?
Yeah, a couple of things on old business. First one is for those of you going to MML, September 11th, Algair Martin is having a get-together, a company-sponsored event at Top Golf in Overland Park. And if you want to attend that, and even your spouse is fine too, let me know. I have to let them know by Friday. So if you can let me know beforehand or after the meeting, that would be great.
Rick and Bob?
You know this side of the table's going.
Holly?
She's a golfer.
She's gonna teach us
Spouses?
Mine.
She's not going.
I won't have anybody.
Okay. Next is, bringing back up is the Liberty program for the LED lighting upgrades. We have, with Integrity, we have Brian on that side, and on the other side, the other Brian. We had some questions about it at the last meeting. So they're here to provide professional input on it. So if you have questions for them, we do need to move forward with it if you want to, get it signed and get it going, so.
Do they want to explain anything, or you guys want to say anything?
Sure, you've all seen the proposal.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this SBDI program is for small meters under 40 kilowatts and pre-approved eligible businesses and public entities that fall under that. You all were on that list, and that's why I reached out. So it's an 80% rebate program, up to 80%. What I proposed there through, we're one of a few partnering subcontractors with Liberty that were chosen to run the program. It's a closed program right now. That's it's a pilot program right now. So, I believe the finding here that they're going to give you is a 73% rebate, and that is because 80% is rebate eligible for rebates on the parts and the labor. The only part that is not eligible for rebate is the lift that they have to rent for the install. Otherwise, everything else is taken care of. You will only, be responsible for that 27% portion that you will settle up with integrity, and we will take care of the rest of that with Liberty. They'll pay for the rest of that through us. So it's an instant rebate program. It's not you pay the full cost and you wait a year to get that funds back. So if there's any questions that came up, I'm available to answer. If you don't want to fire away.
Well, from your proposal, it said that it was going to cost us about $12,000,
Correct.
and you estimate we're going to save $14,000 in our utility bill.
Yes, a little bit more than that.
Okay, in a year. So
Right. So it's about
so it pays for it. In 8
right,
months.
and all these bulbs are warranted for 5 years, but they'll last, likely last way longer than that. So it'll pay itself back pretty quickly. I mean, LED lighting really is. I know you've outfitted a lot of these facilities with that. You all know the payback that comes with that. It's pretty. As far as energy efficiency goes, it's the low-hanging fruit. So it's the first thing to do. And really, this is just a pilot program from Liberty trying to capture some of the smaller meters, small businesses, smaller entities. Small meters that just have been ignored, I guess. So that's what we're helping Liberty do. And Brian here runs the commercial and industrial side of it. So if there's any questions you have for him for other facilities, or if you all have friends, small businesses in town, he's the person to go to, or I can check if they're on our eligible list and help them out as well.
We do, we did clarify the fact that we pay at the end of the project. We don't have to pay anything up front.
Right, and it is.
And therefore, we don't need an ordinance.
Don't need an ordinance, right? Any questions? You guys have any questions for him? Do we need to
Just need a
Motion to approve.
motion to approve it?
I move that we go into the project with Liberty to upgrade all the lighting.
Second.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Holly Levine, that we go forward with the LED lighting project. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand, in the affirmative. We are good in business. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you being here tonight, too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Trouble is, we approve the lighting and carpool cars.
Oh, well. We're getting the shampoo. Where were we? We're
That's all I have.
That's all you have?
Business.
unfinished, Mark? Unfinished, Jay? Okay, new business, Holly.
Yes, sir.
Bob?
No, sir.
Rick?
One thing, I freshly brought up all this. This is probably one of those dumb questions, or there are no dumb questions kind of thing. We consistently have problems with the Pinell being mowed with the city, or the state, right? This is the dumb question part. What if we mowed it and just sent them a bill?
I've asked them about
Yeah.
I've asked them about that before, and even when it came to pushing snow on it, they say, hey, we'll push snow on it, we'll just send you the bill. They are not interested at all in that. They just say, nope, we'll do it.
Will they allow us to mow it?
For free.
Sometimes it
We-
may be worth it. I mean, as bad as it gets, certainly.
Yeah, I have to call them a couple of times a year to remind remind them that they need to come mow.
It is what everybody sees when they come to
Yep.
town for fall and going into fall season and everything.
It's just a cost of stamp. I just keep sending them a bill. Maybe somebody go, oh, we pressure president.
Yeah, right.
Anything else?
Yes. Nothing.
Roger, I have nothing.
I don't know.
Mike,
I have nothing, sir.
Bill,
I think,
David,
no, Mayor.
Mr. Talley.
Yep.
Elena, Crystal, Steve.
Yes, over the past week, 2 weeks, I've been educating myself on a new EPA and DNR requirement called the lead service line inventory. We have until October of 2024 to go through town and verify at, for us, starting right now, 2 locations at each water meter. So going into the water meter and going out of the water meter is not lead, galvanized, copper, anything like that. We have to log every bit of that. There's a big spreadsheet. They supplied us with that. There's a form that we'll have to fill out for each address with basic information. We will have to go through and then look at the water mains and make sure there's none of that. And as far as I know, there isn't any. As far as Jay knows, and he's been around a lot longer than I have, so.
You have to do this for every address, every
Every
meter.
How many meters we have?
3,000 and some.
Is this that unfunded mandate
Yes,
that Bill
it's
White told
unfunded.
us would happen
Unfunded.
3 years ago?
Yes, it is.
Unfunded mandate.
And Bill White sat there and said, no, the state will never do that. That's not our intention.
Yeah. Al Gare Martin sent it to me, of course, and asked if I knew about it. And I was like, yeah, kind of. And he goes, well, we're proposing to other cities $300,000 to do this for them. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. I think we can do this in-house. Between Jay's knowledge and John, our meter guy, who knows every one of the meters, we can get this done, no problem. The other part of that is we will be sending out a letter and a form for each homeowner so that they can verify what the line is going into their house without us having to go do an excavation and whether it's a hydrovac or we dig down on it, something like that, try to get as much of that in as we can from the homeowner, let them submit it to us. I guarantee it will come back that not every homeowner will do that for us. And somewhere down the road, DNR and EPA is going to require us to go out there and do it. And that will be, who knows, down the road. We're going to try to put that off as long as we can by giving them a mass amount of data to begin with.
So what's the penalty for non-compliance? Not that there would be willful non-compliance, but sometimes you're asked to do things that are just logistically difficult to complete.
Have no idea. Usually dealing with DNR, we come under a consent order then, and we pick up a fine, and we're given a set time period to get it done. That's how most of the DNR stuff goes. I haven't looked into the EPA regs to see if there's any type of penalty in there.
We don't have to have it completed by October.
No, it doesn't have to
We
be
have
completed
have it
by,
started and submit something
Yeah.
by then.
So how do I verify my water meter thing?
look at the line coming into your house and see what it is.
Oh, okay.
See whether it's PVC, whether it's PEX, whether it's galvanized, whether it's copper, whatever. See what it is and how big it is.
And we need a picture.
And we need a picture. Oh yeah, we require it. Yeah, they want a picture of it too.
Well, bring your camera.
Yeah.
What about the sprinkler system?
Nope. They don't say anything
So
about
we
it.
put lead on our water hose.
So that's your
Put
neighbor's
lead on
dog,
the
you
yard.
go, eat your lead-filled grass.
So all you need is a picture of it where it comes into your house.
Yep.
Right,
That's another one of those, I guarantee you that not every homeowner is gonna send us a picture with that form.
God damn.
And we'll fill out what we get back and what we put in there, and we'll send it to DNR.
So you want people to like
Luckily, I
print
broke
out
my
a
water line
picture and
before,
mail
so
it
I
back?
put it back in.
Or email.
Exactly what's there, 'cause
Water line goes down all the way through.
This is,
We would prefer that they mail it back.
That's definitely not gonna happen.
You know, you're saying you need a picture of it going into the house. If you got a camera that'll go underground,
Right? Well, no, you got the shut off valve.
underground.
The shut off valve.
Where it comes into your house, that's just it. We have a slew of homes that are slab homes. And unless you know exactly where that line comes up through your floor, you're not gonna be able to get one.
Does anybody have a shut off valve?
No,
What?
the only shut off on mine is at the meter.
That would be
Yeah,
the same
that's
line
Wow.
they shut off.
Wow.
our houses were
Probably.
built before you were
Me too.
My house did not have a shut off valve on it until I put it on when I replaced the galvanized line that used to go into it and put in PVC. Then I put a shut off valve under the house.
Well, I've got one.
Do we have Carterville to thank for this?
No, you said it earlier who we have.
Well, but that's why. That's why he proposed all this was because of Carterville. Remember?
Oh, I am sure there's tons of small municipalities that will have problems.
I was just gonna see if maybe they come over to help us check some pipes.
So what do you do if you can't identify it?
Market unknown.
And then what happens?
There's gonna be a bunch of them.
Then at that point, probably that's when we will be mandated to go do a hydrovac or dig it up and see.
Can't you see the line coming off of the meter?
It says in that anything marked unknown will be,
Investigated.
it says it will be considered lead,
Yeah.
galvanized, basically if it's unknown, they will consider it.
Yeah, they'll automatically consider it one of those bad lines and you'll have to investigate.
Wonderful.
Yep.
I forgot about that. That it?
So those letters will be going out with the next water bills.
Good, I can go into the house and take a picture.
Can I ask, what's the next step then? They don't want galvanized, they don't want,
That's line replacement.
Okay.
Okay, this is going down the same line as what the sewer system is with leaky lateral lines. Leaky lateral lines that hook into our main is the major source of I&I into our system. They know that.
Yeah.
And at some point, they will want us to replace those lateral lines. Other cities are already doing that. Springfield does it. They have a lateral line replacement program. This will be in that same thing. The city will end up having to replace
all the
supply lines.
lateral? I mean, all the lines from the meter to the house?
Yeah, if they are lead, copper, galvanized, anything other than HDPE, PVC, CPVC, or PEX.
But it'll be at the city, not the homeowner. Because then, well, I don't know, then we've got 80-some hundred people mad at it.
Sounds like Jay's gonna be busy.
I'll be retired by then.
Which means we're having a little less money, they have to go back on the homeowner. I'm feeling it.
They'll be offended too, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Will it be the city or will they require the homeowner to do that?
No, I can absolutely see it going down that road of it. It'll be the city's responsibility to do that. Once we investigate all of this and we have all of this data in place, the first step is going to be investigating all of those unknowns. And the next step after that, they will come back and say, do you need to replace these?
I figured they would make everybody come into compliance. And it would be our responsibility to make them.
Yep.
And check for their gas stove for you in there too, just if you would.
But it'll be at the city's expense.
It'll be at the citizens' expense because their rates will have to go up
Oh, yeah.
to cover a project
Yeah,
like
the
that.
water.
Yeah, but I mean, no, it
Extra
will come out of the city's.
Anything else?
Yes, sir.
Mark,
That's enough.
new business?
If there's a special meeting, I won't be here for that one. I'll be on vacation.
Okay. Jay,
Yes, sir.
is there any other business before the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Holly Levine, that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. In the affirmative, we are adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
He sat in
I'll
that
pick up with
office
my voice.
and guaranteed that would never
What date?